Well, in this episode's profile, we meet a rocket scientist who thinks he knows how to do it. And his new rocket could shave months off of a commute to the Red Planet.
Franklin Chan-Diaz loves watching Star Trek with his wife and youngest daughter.
I've been a Trekkie since I came to the United States. We watch the episodes over and over and over again.
My dad kind of passed this rule that we can't watch it without him.
Franklin's favorite character? Mr. Spock.
He has a very important position of leadership in his crew. Mr. Spock is a scientist, but he also flies.
Like Spock, Franklin knows a few things about being a scientist and a space traveler. He was NASA's first Latin American astronaut to go into space.
Liftoff of Columbia in mission 61.
He's been to space 7 times, which ties the record. And he spent the last 3 decades developing a futuristic rocket engine.
I believe that this rocket will revolutionize space travel. We will have the entire solar system at our disposal.
Franklin's journey began in the Central American country of Costa Rica, where he dreamt of becoming an astronaut.
I was probably about 4 or 5, and I took my sister at 2 or 3 in the morning, and we climbed to the roof of our house, and we sat on the roof eating grapefruits with sugar and looking at the stars. The sky was absolutely beautiful. I knew that among those stars there were other worlds, other places. And I wanted to be there. I wanted to go there.
His first step towards space travel, he built a rocket for his high school science fair.
It had a little capsule with a small mouse and a parachute. And of course, the first stage was a complete failure. And the mouse survived, which was a real triumph.
When he finished high school, Franklin was determined to become an astronaut. His father took out a loan and bought him a ticket to the United States.
And he said, look, this is all I can do for you right now. My parents never said, it cannot be done.
With only $50 in his pocket and no knowledge of English, Franklin arrived at the home of cousins in Hartford, Connecticut. He enrolled in high school, worked hard to learn English, and let everyone know he meant business.
I decided that I would wear a tie and a jacket every single day. And so my teachers were actually a little bit surprised to see this boy, come into school with a tie and jacket with some weird dreams about going into space.
His hard work paid off, and he won a full scholarship to college. Within 4 years, Franklin had started a family and was a graduate student at MIT, studying nuclear fusion and developing concepts for an experimental rocket engine.
The idea began as a result of my PhD thesis. It was clear to me that chemical rockets, the conventional rockets that we have been using all along, were not really going to give us the capability to travel far, to Mars, to Jupiter.
He was on the road to building his first real rocket when in 1977, NASA issued a call for a new group of astronauts. 3,500 would apply, only 15 would be chosen. Franklin was one of those 15.
Cuando me llamó, yo era tal la emoción que gritaba, ¡ay, lo logró! Y mi esposo lloraba con lágrimas, pero no podía hablar. Yo fui la única mujer en el país que fue la mamá de un astronauta. No hay otra.
T-minus 20 seconds.
What I had prepared for my entire life
T-minus 12 seconds.
was actually happening.
T-minus 10. Go for engine start.
When the engines lit up, the whole thing shakes like there's no tomorrow, and you're off.
We have ignition. We have liftoff. Liftoff of Columbia in mission 61C, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Roger, roll, Columbia.
And then, all of a sudden, everything stops. Everything floats. You're in space. Everybody rushes to look out the window. And what you see is the most beautiful thing you ever saw. And that is worth all the effort and all the trouble and all the difficulty.
Today, he shares a record for the most missions in space, and he's the most famous man in his home country of Costa Rica.
It's amazing how much they react towards him. It's like he's Hercules or something.
Franklin now has privately funded labs in Houston and Costa Rica, where he devotes all of his time to testing and developing a plasma rocket engine, the same rocket he'd conceived of as a graduate student at MIT. The testing takes place inside a large steel vacuum chamber where the engine is fired. His rocket works by heating the gas argon to extremely high temperatures until the gas changes into what's called a plasma.
Typically, a conventional rocket runs at temperatures of a few thousand degrees. Sounds pretty hot, but we would like to run at temperatures of a few million degrees. Temperatures like the sun. Big difference. At those temperatures, the stuff that you're shooting is going so fast that you only need little tiny amounts of it.
That's what makes Franklin's rocket so revolutionary. It could use a fraction of the fuel used by conventional rocket engines, which could save millions of dollars in fuel costs.
So you have a very small fuel tank. You can then make a tremendous rocket that way.
In 2012, for its first field test, Franklin's rocket will be fired on the International Space Station, 200 miles above the surface of the Earth. If it works, his rocket may someday take the first humans to Mars.
If you use a conventional rocket to go to Mars, it will take you about 7 months. If you use a plasma rocket, it will take you about 39 days.
Franklin imagines a future where space travel will be like Star Trek, with no limits to where we can go.
My dream or my vision is a future for humanity where we will have the entire solar system at our disposal. Humans will be inhabiting space in a big way. I think all human beings dream. I always tell the kids I meet to follow your dreams. It's the first thing I tell them. Do not let anyone tell you that you can't do something until you find out for yourself. I'm talking about the ability of a child to say, look, I want to change the world. Go do it.